Hey guys, welcome to Queen Airbender Tarot. Today we are going to do the social tarot reading of Brandy and Wanya Morris. Now before I get into this reading, I want to share I do not know either one of these individuals personally. The messages and the information that I'm sharing today is associated with messages that both Brandy herself and Wanya Morris himself have spoken and has circulated through social media. I'm also going to get spirit messages and, intuitive downloads, and we're going to read cards because I do have questions about this situation. I am tapping into this energy with the Fair Use Act. I have to say that because it's stuff that I'm using from media. Okay, so I have to put that out there. And also the information with the Fair Use Act is in the comments. Well, it's in the description box below. So I want to go ahead and jump into it. Also today, April 4th, I'm doing a discount reading sale. If you would like a personal reading at a discounted price for the 4/4 energy portal, the link will be pinned in the comment section below. So I want to talk about this. So Brandy has this book out right now. It's called Phases, a Memoir. And in this book, what's circulating right now, she talks about a lot of things that's going on in her life. I've seen stuff briefly. I believe it came out March 31st of this year. The book came out 30th or 31st, one else. But I've seen some brief things, from different bloggers and things like that, reading passages from her book. And then I've seen a couple snippets here and there online. And one thing that's circulating majorly is a situation with her and singer Wanya Morris from Boys to Men, from the group Boys to Men. And in that, I want to read exactly verbatim what she says in a certain passage. She says, "I was a child and he was an adult, and I believe I was took advantage of." She's speaking of the fact that when she started dating him, she was 16 years old and he was 22 years old. Okay. This whole debate has a lot of people just in general, everybody who talks about it, everybody's quite divided over it. And I don't understand what is there to be divided about. I want to put this out there, and then I want to share a clip of why people, because there's a lot of people asking, like, why are you coming out saying something now? And, they were calling her fast, and she was hiding a lot of it. And she says in the memoir, "I'm going to speak out about it now because I'm tired of dealing with the shame. I'm tired of hiding things." That's a part of what this book is about. Keep in mind, again, the name of the book is Phases. She's in a phase in her life where she's going through a spiritual journey where she wants to purge. She wants to let go of some things. She wants to get rid of some things. She wants to get rid, and mainly the shame. Like she said specifically, the shame, because she always wanted to keep this facade of this perfect, well-to-do, goody-goody. You could think about it. She was on Moesha. She was on Thea. She has to be the honor roll student, the good girl. In Moesha, she got through the things, the adolescence things with the drug. I'm not saying her using drugs, but people being around people who was using it. They talked about those topics in the show and things like that. So she wasn't like this perfect person, but her image pretty much was coming off like they wanted her to be like this positive figure for young girls. You know what I mean? They were using her to be that type of imagery. And so she continued to, I won't say flourish, but she continued to move in that energy even into her adulthood now, And so she's like, I'm tired of it. I'm not going to keep doing it. I want to put it out here. And I've seen a lot of people in a very upsetting way. I'm going to show the clip. Gary with the T off of, what is that? The Ricky Smiley Morning Show. The brat was reading the passage, talking about the situation that she was going through and talking about Brandy's take on it. And Gary's take on it was, well, why is she talking about this? He has a family now. I don't believe it. And that's really, really messed up. And the brat, and I'm so, shout out to the brat for actually speaking up. Chi-Town in the building, I'm Chi-Town right here. But she spoke up and she said, she's speaking her truth. And how can you say that she's a liar when she lived that? She lived that. So for you to be sitting here saying that she's lying, and you can tell Brat was trying to restrain herself, like she wanted to say some more. But you could tell she didn't want to go back and forth with him. But she knew he was being biased. And he was very agitated with the fact that, Brandy even was speaking up on this. The thing that I feel annoyed me the most about watching that was the fact he said he has a family. Okay, and how do we know that his actions isn't affecting how she was as a mother, how situations is with her and her family, possibly how situations is with her and her relationships? And I believe it did, because she says in that memoir that he was her first. He took her virginity at 16 years old. That 22-year-old took her virginity. I 110% believe that relationship affected many of her relationships throughout her life. She never got married. There was with her daughter Sarai, the father, there was this whole narrative saying that him and her had snuck off and got married. It came to be found out that she never married this man. Again, trying to keep a certain image. And I don't believe to date, unless they kept it under wraps really good, which you can do sometimes in Hollywood, I don't think she's ever been legally married to anybody. And she's went through a lot of like very public relationships and things like that. She dated Kobe Bryant. She dated Mace. I don't know if she dated Shine, but I know that Shine was talking on, I believe It Is What It Is with Mace and Cameron, and I'll insert that clip at some point. She dealt with some pretty heavy hitting people, some very popular, some very, influential individuals. So she's had a very widely known dating history, but that's why I'm kind of confused if she was married. I don't, it's never been said, except for, like I said, the situation with her daughter Sarai, which it was found out that she was never really married to Sarai's father. Anyway, getting back into it, I want that clip to be addressed, because I feel like when people ask, why are you coming out saying stuff like that now, what Gary is saying is the exact reason why women like her don't speak up, because you are being looked at like you're a liar, like you're being messy, like why didn't you address it before? You have to keep in mind, she was 16 years old and he was 22. There was an interview that Wanya did where he said that her mother, Brandy's mother, and him decided that Brandy was going to go to prom with Kobe Bryant, for the whole image, and so that she would have experience and things like that. Because while he's trying to write it off like, oh, we want her to have these experiences and things like that, you also have to think about it. Think about how old you were in high school and think about your dates. Like if you had a date, and I know this because I've experienced this. When you are in high school, if you go to prom with someone who doesn't go to your high school, they have to fill out a form, the age, the ID, all that stuff, because that's a guest form that you have to do. Also, there's an age limit, right? So Brandy wouldn't have been able to go to her prom or anything like that with him, because when she met him at 16, she wouldn't be going to prom, her senior prom at 16, right? If he was 22 when she was 16, he damn sure wouldn't be able to go to her prom with her when she was 18 years old. You get what I'm saying? Because at that time, he would have been 24. They wasn't going to let her have a 24-year-old date. Most schools wouldn't allow that. You get what I'm saying? So he's being very manipulative. He's being very sneaky. And then also everyone's saying like, well, he's young, so he didn't know any better. Yeah, 22 is definitely young. You make a lot of mistakes in your 20s, a lot of them. But for him to sit here and say that her mother and him did all these arrangements. He even talked about how he talked to networks about her being on shows and stuff like that. He sounds like he's very business savvy. He sounds like he's very smart. So you're not going to tell me that he didn't know that him dating a 16-year-old and being intimate with a 6-year-old is not crazy. It's very crazy. Okay? He knew. Also, they both knew because he sat here and said that they kept it to themselves. And then they weren't intimate until she was old enough, which is bullshit. We know it's bullshit. We don't have to be there. I'm going to say allegedly for legal, purposes, but he was messing with that girl. We're not finna sit here and play this BS ass game. And it bothers me immensely because I have a 16-year-old daughter. And for those of you who are saying like she did say in the book that she was sneaking, she was lying to her parents, that's what fucking teenagers do. I'm going to tell you, I have an 18-year-old son and I have a 16-year-old daughter. If I find out that a 22-year-old has been messing with my daughter, you're going to see me. And I'm pressing charges. I don't care what nobody's saying. And you have to think about this for yourself. If this was your niece, your daughter, your goddaughter, your cousin, if this was somebody that you loved and you found out that your 16-year-old cousin, loved one, anybody is dealing with a 22-year-old and you're going to sit there and say, oh, she's being fast. Okay, you can say that she's being fast. Cool. But you mean to tell me that this person is going to just be scot-free? They can get off the line and that's okay? Are you crazy? You ain't no better. And it's this conversations like this that needs to be had because we're seeing it a lot in history and nobody's addressing it. So like I said, I'm going to leave that snippet here because comments like the stuff that, he's saying, Gary with the T, things that he's saying, that's the exact reason why people don't speak up about stuff like this. That's the exact reason.
Well, y'all, Brandy is opening up like never before in her new book, Phases. She's revealing details about a past relationship with Boyz II Men singer Wanya Morris. She says it began when she was just 16 and he was in his early 20s. The two initially connected while she was working on her hit song, Broken Hearted. But Brandy says the relationship quickly turned romantic and got complicated. Now, I don't know if y'all remember Broken Hearted. They did a remix of Broken Hearted. And when I tell you it was so jamming, it was, and it sounded so good. And that's probably because it was so really real. In her book, she reflects on sneaking around and keeping the relationship a secret and filling in over her head at such a young age. Brandy says that looking back now, she believes in her youth was taken advantage of, and she's calling out what she describes as warning signs that she didn't recognize at the time because she was so young. Now, Brandy also talks about losing her virginity to Wanya. She also talks about how the relationship progressed, and Wanya became prone to comparing her to other R&B hit singers, namely Mariah Carey, which is, my goodness, that's a lot of pressure on somebody to compare them to Mariah. Brandy says the relationship eventually ended after she discovered he was being unfaithful, and now years later she's speaking her truth. She says the shame ends here. The silence ends here. I was a child. He was an adult. And it's time the world understood the difference. Ooh.
Oh, wow.
Do you believe? I know you don't believe that because I don't think that's true.
You don't believe what?
That what she just said. I know you don't believe that.
It is absolutely true.
Why would you say it's not true? Why would she say
absolutely
it?
true. She was my little sister like back then too. And she was absolutely in love with him.
Really?
The hard part about all of this speaking on celebrities for me is that I'm cool with most of these people. Like, I love Wanya. Wanya's on tour. I'm so proud of him. I love his children. They just did a promo with Kaleidoscope, my wife's company, so it gets hard for me because I knew Brandy used to talk about him all the time. She was very much in love, but at the same time today, like I know Wanya has a family.
That's why I don't believe that. I just don't believe she would
well,
be
this was
saying
back.
that.
This was before he had a family.
Oh,
this was before he had a family.
So
I
it's
don't,
like, how do we address that?
Exactly.
Because, she was 16, he was 22?
yeah.
And 22 is, even though it's legal, it's still young. You're 22.
I know. I mean,
but
I don't
that's
know.
not different from Jay-Z and Beyonce.
But they were grown, right?
No. Beyonce wasn't grown.
Oh.
She wasn't grown.
Well,
No,
I'm going to say that story for you.
Okay.
Allegedly.
Yeah,
Allegedly.
yeah.
So,
but what she said, but I don't believe that. I don't believe Brandy.
This is what Brandy is saying. This is her truth.
Yeah, but I just
and it's
don't
in
believe
her
it.
book. And I do know for a fact that she was in love with him, but I didn't know all of this other stuff had happened. And now she's
That's why I don't
speaking her
believe
truth
it. Yeah.
in her book.
Look,
You believe everything else. You believe a lot of dumb stuff.
Yeah, I know.
But you not believing somebody what they saying in their book.
I don't think
she
Brandy
would
would
lie.
wake up out of her sleep and just, you know what I'm saying?
So jumping back into this ain't nothing new. This is typical stuff that we see, unfortunately, that, in regards to how children are not protected. Children are not, I think as a child, you look at adults. He's an adult. That's why she thought she was grown, Brandy. She thought she was grown. Okay, not trying to be shady, not trying to be funny, but this is just the real talk of it. I know this because at 16 years old, I was dealing with a 24-year-old. And now, and this is me just being very upfront with you all, keeping it funky. Yes, guess what? I was wronged as well. Was I being grown? Absolutely. Would you call that fast? Absolutely. But if my mama would have known that I was dealing with a 24-year-old, I guarantee you this conversation right here wouldn't even be being explained the way it is, because she would have put hands and feet on that man, and he definitely would have been in jail. And I'm going to share with you what I believe that Brandy went through herself, right? Because at the end of the day, the situation is when you're dating somebody, you're 16 years old, you're dating somebody in their 20s, that make you feel like you're so much more mature than your peers. You feel like you're grown. You're not feeling like you are being manipulated. You're not feeling like this person is using you and grooming you. And that's exactly what that person is doing. And that's exactly what he did. That's why when she said she felt like he was taking advantage of her, he was. And this is not something new. This is stuff that you see all throughout the industry and just places in the world in general. But I just want to talk about a couple situations that you see this in your face and people don't do anything about it because of status and things like that. And stuff like that is very important and influential to a lot of people. Like, think all the way back to Elvis. Elvis and his wife, Priscilla Presley. Elvis was 24 when he met Priscilla at 14. Now, they're saying that they got married when she was a legal age, but he met her at 24, and I guarantee you, he had dealings, like intimate dealings. He had intimate dealings with that girl before 14 years old. I mean, before she got married at the legal age. He met her at 14. He was 24. What do you have in common with a 14-year-old, a 24-year-old? What do you have in common with that type of person? And he married her, had a child with her, and people knew that he was dealing with her. Let's not play games. R. Kelly and Aaliyah. R. Kelly was 27 when he legally married Aaliyah. Aaliyah was 15. You know how people knew about it? Because they made him get it annulled. There's records of that. You can look it up. There's legal records showing that R. Kelly married Aaliyah at 27 when she was 15 years old. This is stuff that keeps happening in history. Let's also talk about Paul Walker. I remember Paul Walker from the Fast and the Furious. I remember people talking about it like, you know, there's always people in the comment section like when he first passed and people was putting rest in peace and things like that. And I seen a couple of comments where people were saying rest in peace. He was a child rapist. He did this, he did that. And people was like, how can you talk about him? That man is dead. You're evil, blah, blah, blah. Not only did Paul Walker have one, but he had two underage women that he dated. This ain't hearsay. This is facts, y'all. Okay, Paul Walker was dealing with, what's her name? Jasmine Pillard Gosling. What was she? They was together for 7 years. He was 33 and she was 16 when he started dating her. Where's these people's parents? But then also, what's up with everybody just sitting there not saying anything, not doing anything, and seeing what's going on? And you know, celebrities, they have entourages. They got all types of people that can hold them accountable. And everybody's just walking around seeing this adult-ass man with these kids and ain't saying nothing. That to me is insane. But also, like I said, he dated another one when he was 28, a 16-year-old girl by the name of, what's her name? Aubriana Atwell. So he had two situations where he was dating 16-year-olds. And I'm going to say this again, because of his status and because of who he was and people are fans, everybody just overlooked it. People was in those comment sections saying like how nasty it was for people to bring up the past when he was dead and gone. It don't matter. When he was here, he was dating minors. 33 is a far cry from being 19, 20, which I still feel like is OC. Okay, but 19, 20, you're 33 years old and you're dating a 16-year-old. That's crazy. I don't care what nobody say, that's crazy as hell. Steven Tyler was dating somebody named Julia Holcombs when she was 16 years old and he was 25. I'm going to leave the little snippet that I seen when I did research on that on the screen so you guys can pause and read it. This ain't hearsay. Again, there's actually court documents. There's court documents talking about all of this stuff. You know that, like I said, there's plenty of people who have crews and things like that. You got all these people and nobody is holding anyone accountable, which I think is just absolutely disgusting. It's crazy as hell. Now, this may be a little bit different because, quote unquote, the age that she got married, but I don't give a damn what nobody tell me. You can't tell me that this man wasn't dealing with this little girl when she was living in his home. One of the creepiest ones for me was Woody Allen and what's her name? Soon Yi. His adopted daughter, his girlfriend that he was dating at the time, she adopted her daughter, Soon Yi. And he was helping her raise that girl. He ended up marrying the adopted child, his ex-girlfriend's adopted child. The child that they raised together. He's married to her and has children with her. How this woman has children with him is crazy as hell to me. Because if he would do it to you, you know, like hell, I would never leave. And they got daughters. I would never leave my children alone with that man. Legally, it shows that she was 27 years old when they got married. But I don't care what you say. He had access to that girl when she was a child. And you're not going to tell me that he waited for her to become an adult for him to be intimate with her. I don't believe it. I don't care what nobody says. Allegedly. I don't care what nobody says. He definitely was dealing with that girl. He was messing with her. So again, going back into this, you know, this is a tarot channel, so I want to talk about some zodiac signs. Brandy is an Aquarius. Wanya is a Leo. Both Aquarius and Leo are both fixed signs. So I do feel like they both want to have these fixed narratives about the way things went down, the way things were done. She lied. Brandy was lying and covering up for him in the past. I remember this. She was covering up for him in the past, saying that, you know, she was of age and things like that. Now she's coming out in her memoir and she's saying something differently. Also, there was an interview with Cameron and Mace featuring Shine, where before the interview even got started, Cameron just buzzes out like, yo, can I start it off? And the first question he asked was about Brandy. Because allegedly Mace and Shine both were dealing with Brandy. And it's always this narrative about Brandy and how she's like was a hot girl. She was out here messing with all these other people. And I think she's super tired of that narrative. And that may be a part of why she even documented certain things. Because, you know, people like, they was talking big stuff about Brandy. Like she was a hoe and all this other stuff. So I feel like also with all this going down, we're going to start to see more stuff with people that she's dated coming out the closet. Maybe even her ex husband that wasn't her husband, but they lied about it, he may even come out and say something. Because I feel like now it's going to be a smear campaign, because I feel like Wanya, right now they're trying to do some damage control, because to date, I haven't seen anything where he has spoken out and said anything otherwise or anything in his defense. Let's also talk about this, because, you know, I have to do some digging. He got a very interesting dating relationship habit, you know, just if you just look back at his history. When he was married, he was legally married to a woman named Tracy Nash in May 11th of 2002. And they were married legally until June 26, 2023. But he happened to have a wedding ceremony with his current wife, Amber, in September of 2019. Let me say this again. He had a marriage ceremony in 2019 with his current wife, but he was still legally married to Tracy Nash until 2023. So while he was legally married, he had a ceremony of marriage to his current wife. So he got some stuff about him that, you know, he got some manipulative ways and some weird stuff going on with him as well. And it shows when you see the interviews, how he's talking, and also how disgusting it was that they were laughing. He was on the Breakfast Club, and I'm going to insert that. I'm going to insert that here next. The way they were talking about her, and he said something along the lines of, she was of the age where she could get it. In other words, like, she was at the age where, yeah, we could be intimate. And they were laughing and joking about it. And then even one of his members from Boyz II Men was sitting here saying, like, yeah, he said it. Yeah, she was underage. And he was like, no. And then trying to clean it up and things like that. So it's like, just like I've been saying for the longest, so many people had the opportunity to step in and say something, but nobody said anything. They just sat there and watched it happen. And that's what's going on with society in general. And that's why I decided to do this social terror reading on this, not just because of the scandal that's going on with that, but keep in mind, we as people, as a society, we just sit back and watch stuff happen and nobody says anything. Why did no one think? And he was Boyz II Men was huge. Of all the women that you could get, you decided that you wanted to be with a 16-year-old girl. You're a groomer. You knew what you was doing because you had control over her. It gave you some sense of power. You were in a position where you felt powerful, like you could make these moves, like he said, with the whole TV network and hooking her up with these people and connecting her with those people. It's all very weird. And then I feel like if you're going to do anything to him, because some legal actions could happen. I don't know if Brandy's going to take legal actions, but I'm kind of wondering if that should be one of the questions for our reading. But I also want to say, like, I feel like everybody who stood by and watched this happen, they should have to be a part of the situation as well. Like, legally, it should be some ramifications for the actions as well. You sat here, you were in support of it. Even if you didn't say, yes, you should go date this 16-year-old, you were in support of it because you didn't stop it. Did you talk to him and say, yo, this ain't the move? I want to ask, I don't know if he has daughters. I know I've seen he has sons, Wanya Morris. I want to know if he would let his 16-year-old daughter date a 22-year-old. That's one of my biggest questions as well. So again, I'm going to leave the video right here where he's talking about it on the Breakfast Club and they're laughing about it. It's like so degrading to me the way that they're laughing about it. Like, Charlamagne made some points to it, like, you know, she was underage, but then they all just got to laughing it off like it was nothing. It's honestly disgusting. And now I see why she held it to herself, because she's being laughed at, she's being looked at like she's fast, but nobody's holding him accountable. And when they do try for a brief second, then they start laughing it off and joking about it like it's not a big deal. So let's watch this clip.
Obviously, at a point in time, you guys were like the biggest group, you know, that was out. And you had a celebrity relationship. Were you the only one that was ever involved with a celebrity?
Who was he dating?
Wanya was banging Brandy.
Brandy.
He left you lonely, brokenhearted.
No, I didn't actually leave alone.
He was teaching Reggae how to do videos.
You taught Reggae how to do the segment.
That's why they called you Squirt.
That's what I was thinking.
That's why Squirt.
I mean, Brandy even said in her behind the music that you broke her heart because you fell in love with somebody else.
I mean, you only fall in love with somebody. You only fall out of love with somebody else if somebody makes you fall out of love. Mm-hmm. You know, so if that was the situation, if that's what she said, then
that's political. I like that.
I can't contest to her view about it. I can just only live by my view.
Revolt. Mm-hmm. Revolt.
They were saying she was really young when y'all dated.
Yeah, she was. Not that young. Not
God,
not
this
not
dude.
jailbait. No, that's what I'm saying. Hold on, but you know that's why. But that's why I stopped it. Hold on, but that's why I stopped it and said that she wasn't that young, because I don't want y'all to think Boyz II Men was no.
I was young too.
She said she was 15 and she had to keep it a secret because she was so young.
See, we did the thing. We did the thing when she was like 16, 17, around that time. You know,
so you were still a boy too. You
I wasn't old. I wasn't
men
like
yet.
38 years old, nothing like that. I was old enough to. She was old enough to get it.
Okay, but was it legal in the state y'all was in?
I mean, we was always in different states. We was on tour.
They had a nomad relationship.
You know what I'm saying? We just, we didn't do it in the states that it was legal. It was illegal in.
Nice.
Nice. Oh my gosh. Political.
No. It was, you know what I mean? It was a time. It was a relationship. It grew and it ungrew. I guess you could say that.
So getting back into it, I wanted to ask the questions because I do want to know what's going on, what's going to happen moving forward with this situation. My first question is: has Wanya reached out to Brandy to do damage control? Because I haven't. If you've seen something, leave it in the comment section and I'll look at it. But I haven't seen anything where Wanya has responded, where Brandy has responded in return to. If she's reached out to Wanya or spoken to him or anything like that. So I do want to know, has Wanya, because he's getting ripped a new one on social media. I want to know, has Wanya reached out to Brandy to do damage control or to see what is this about? Can you go and make a statement, because right now this is affecting my marriage. I want to know if it's affecting his marriage because he's currently married right now. And I do believe him and his wife, they have a daughter. So I'm just curious about that. My second question is this book, her current book, okay, what is it? Phases, a memoir. Is this book a part of her spiritual cleansing and healing or revenge? Now, I'm only asking about revenge because a lot of people are asking, why now? Why is she bringing this up now? I personally don't feel like it's revenge, but I just have to ask because I'm trying to be neutral about the situation, which is going to be difficult because I'm going to say again, as a mother and as someone myself who was in that situation, am I going to go back to the person that I was dealing with who was 24 when I was 16 to make a big deal about it? No, but trust and believe I'm healed enough and I'm old enough to know now that it was wrong. And I feel like that's the same thing she's going through. So it could look like I'm being biased in that situation. But again, you have to say to yourself, would you be okay with knowing that your 16-year-old is dating a 22-year-old? If you could say yes, then you're scum of the earth. I don't give a fuck what you say. You are. It's real. That's trash. That's trash as hell. Because of all the things, at 16, you're supposed to be having these experiences that a child is having, the school dances and making the mistakes and the innocence. You have your innocence taken. And I don't know. Even if they're saying that, and she says in the book that she was being sneaky and she did this and she did that, but I still feel like even with her being sneaky, he knew that was wrong. He knew legally, oh man, all types of repercussions and things like that was going to happen with that behavior. He knew what it was. And also there's a clip where, before I get into the cars, there's a clip where Wanya is talking to someone on live and he's doing these real nervous laughs. And he's talking about he says her parents were aware of them dating. And in the book, she says her parents didn't know. He even talks about how you can ask Brandy, she'll prove to you that everything is everything and everything was, the family and stuff knew about it. Brandy says in that book that they didn't. So that's why I'm also asking, I wonder if he reached out to do damage control, because he literally says in that live that Brandy's family was aware and that you can call and reach out to Brandy herself and she would confirm and she would support everything that he said, every statement that he made. And she's doing the exact opposite of that in that book. The exact opposite of that in that book. So, yeah. Watch the clip.
Okay, so check this out. Brandy and I were friends in the beginning. Her mother and reached out to me, as well as my manager reached out to Brandy, because Brandy was a big fan of mine. And I was like, wow, that's amazing, because this young lady was pretty cool. Now I was young at the time. I wasn't 30 nothing. You know what I'm saying? So Don't get it twisted. Hold on one second. Can we keep it down? Because I can't hear. All right. So what happened is we actually, she became kind of like my little protege. You know what I mean? I'm actually the one that introduced her to Vita Spears and Ralph Fuqua. They came to us to actually do a TV show on the UPN network. And I said, well, Brandy's down the hallway, and she's basically she was on the Thea show. Okay, cool. Introduced her to that. The show came to fruition. My mom and I wrote the theme song to the Brandy show. So Brandy and I were really, really close. Once she turned of age, we had been hanging around each other so much. We've been hanging around each other so much that there became to be some sort of connection, an intimate connection. We actually fell in love. Now, we were young. That's what happens. You're young and you fall in love. You know what I'm saying? Especially when you have the ability to be around somebody a lot, you begin to know things about them. You know what I mean? And they know things about you. Now, when you're young, you make decisions based on your youth. You know what I'm saying? You don't make decisions, moral decisions that put you in a whole position where you know that this is what's going to be for the rest of your life. You're learning through everything. And Brandy and I learned through a lot. When it came time for Brandy to go on her prom, she was my girlfriend. Kobe Bryant was graduating from high school that year. Brandy was my girlfriend. She had just graduated from Pepperdine, and her mom and we both made it so that Brandy was able to go on tour. I mean, on the prom with Kobe Bryant. Okay, when it came time for Brandy to introduce herself to the world, I'm the one that actually put her on the Boys to Men tour. Okay, so she was with me. She was my friend, and we became intimate in a relationship. There's no lie going on here. You can ask Brandy; she will tell you the same story. Relax on what you think, because I know, because I lived it, and so did Brandy. As time progressed, we grew out of each other. Yes. It was a hurtful thing. It was a hurtful thing to break up. That's what happens. You're in a relationship and then you break up. She grew out of me and I grew out of her. Might have grown out of her a little bit faster, but it's a relationship. You're young and you make decisions. Next thing you know, that's what it is. Brandy's successful, Boys to Men is successful, and we're happy. You know what I'm saying? This is what it is. We are happy. So whoever is there saying, all kinds of crazy stuff like they know, you know what I mean? Regardless of anything, my age, her mother was definitely, a part of our relationship. Her mother and father was a part of our relationship. They allowed me to guide Brandy and to help her through her career. They understood that we had grown close, and that's what it was. You know what I'm saying? So understand that for a fact, whoever it is on there, that life happens. That's just what it is. So now you have your answer.
So let's get into the questions for our first question. And then also today, Sir Wayne, my fellow Gemini, he also bought this deck. And I'm going to use this deck because I decided that I was going to add some decks and things like that to the readings. And he bought this deck for me, Curiosity, like spilling the tea. And because this is a social tarot reading, and when you do social topics, it's like spilling the tea. I'm going to also get a card from this deck as well at the very end to see if there's additional messages in regards to the situation. Thank you so much again, Sir Wayne, for buying that from my Amazon wish list. I won't change it again because I'm just being told to. You guys see I'm holding it down so I don't see the cards until you see them. So currently at the bottom of the deck, we have the Nine of Swords, sleepless nights, anxieties, worries, and fears. The first, I already see. Okay, the first question, has Wanya reached out to her to do damage control? Brandy happens to be an Aquarius, and you have swords here. Gemini, Libra, Aquarius. I feel like she's stressed out. I feel like she's getting a lot of backlash. You see how she's overwhelmed. You see how she has her arms across her chest like she's protecting herself. I also feel like she had to get that off her chest. The way her arms are across her chest, this has been on her mind. Swords is mental. It's been on her mind for a very long time. And I feel like she was like, it has to end here. I know that because you have the number 9. The number 9 in numerology is talking about endings and transitions. Is that not what phases are? Endings and transitions. The name of the book is Phases. a memoir. She had to get that off her chest. She couldn't, if you notice, she's in the bed, like, I can't sleep at night. She's lost a lot of sleep over this whole situation. She's lost a lot of sleep over slander about her, her image, slander over her, just anything with her history. I feel like, just a lot of things has been weighing very heavy on her heart, and she just wants to get it off of her chest. She talks about a lot of different things in this book, but this is the thing that's really standing out right now. And I feel like it's kind of hitting her hard. Like, she's getting a lot of calls. A lot of people want to do interviews about it. And I feel like they're projecting this situation more than anything else she's talking about in the book. And I honestly do not feel like that was her intention. I feel like that was just a phase that she wanted to talk about in that book, but I don't feel like that was her whole story. And I feel like she's getting like worked up or beat down rather about this particular part in this book. So let's go ahead and shuffle. I'm just shuffling upright, and then I'll shuffle in reverse, and you have none other at the bottom than Brandy, Aquarius. Let's see what's up under here. Six of Pentacles. She may have been given breadcrumbs all her life from love interests. I also feel like there's a lot of people reaching, trying to make some stories, whoever broke the story about the topic, because she didn't post that. Like, Brandy didn't post the whole thing. They're reaching for a salacious story, a blogger. And I'm not saying that they were wrong, because it does have to come out, but this is actually very scandalous. And I feel like, whoever broke it was getting paid a lot of money for monetizing, from breaking a story and things like that. But also the Six of Pentacles is a card of like someone being breadcrumbed. I think she's just tired of being breadcrumbed by people. She doesn't feel like it's been fair for her, especially in her love life. You get the scales here. Scales talking about balance and justice. Justice is about fairness. I feel like she's felt like she hasn't been treated very fairly by people. And she was trying to balance the scale so that she can be stable. Pentacles about stability and structure. She tried to do a lot of that. Or that's what she's trying to do. I do feel like she felt like, her childhood was full of like violations from people close to her. I'm going to shuffle in reverse now. And again, the first question, has Wanya reached out to Brandy to do damage control? I really want to know that. I want to know if we're going to see any interviews coming up. I feel like his PR team is definitely telling him, shut your ass up, don't say nothing until we know how to play this. So that's why I'm kind of getting like, should he reach out to her? Has he reached out to her? Bottom of the deck, Seven of Cups, illusion, confusion, feeling scattered. In reverse, it's definitely giving like he doesn't know if he should reach out. He doesn't know how to move forward with the situation. Let's get into it. Universal energies of light, love, and divine protection. Has Wanya Morris reached out to Brandy to do damage control in regards to this situation with the topic in the book? Universal energies of light, love, and divine protection. Has Wanya Morris reached out to Brandy to do damage control? Okay. So you have the Hermit in reverse, and then at the back, you have the Page of Pentacles. So more so he's playing up on a role. And he did say this in those interviews, if you've seen it. He said, well, I was young myself. And he kept saying like, well, I wasn't 30. So in other words, he was like, in his mind, the way he keeps saying it, and he said it in multiple interviews, like, well, I wasn't like in my 30s. He's saying like, well, I was in my 20s, so I was a child myself. Pages in tarot is children, the youth. So he's pretty much putting it on that like, well, you can't really say too much about me dealing with her at 22, because that wasn't that far off of, from her age. I was still a child myself, is what he's basically saying. So you have the Hermit. It came up in reverse. Major Arcana, definite energy. The Hermit is seeking knowledge, seeking wisdom, seeking clarity. In reverse, this is saying like he has not reached out to her. He hasn't sought to communicate with her. I do feel like he may have wanted to reach out to her, but a team, like I said, his legal team, because he may have tried to see if he could do like a cease and desist, but guess what? He can't even do that. Because just as you've seen the video clips that I added, he himself, out of his own mouth, said that he was dating her. And around the time, if you're adding timelines, it's definitely going to say that she was 16 and he was 22. It's definitely going to say that. Definitely going to say that. So I think what I'm picking up is that he may have reached out to a legal team to see what he could do, to see if he could do a cease and desist, to see what he can do to get on top of it, to make sure it doesn't turn into a bigger monster, if you will. But this is saying like, no, he hasn't reached out to her. He hasn't sought to move forward with seeking some type of communication with her. Not as of right now. Okay. Bottom of the deck, you got the Five of Wands, conflicts, arguments, disagreements. Second question, is this book a part of her spiritual cleansing or in healing or revenge. This looks like revenge, like I'm trying to attack you, I'm trying to fight back, but more so not revenge, but fighting back. They're fighting against each other, right? The number 5, you have the 5 here, 5 of Wands. 5 in numerology talks about changes, challenges, adventures, and journeys. Changes, just like the name of the book, phases. Phases changes things. In this phase of her journey, I feel like she's saying, I'm fighting back. I'm not going to just sit back and let people talk about me. I'm not going to just sit back and not speak up about things. You guys have to also keep in mind, she has a daughter. And this may be, we don't know if behind the scenes something's going on with her daughter. She's saying like, that's weird, or what this person's doing to you is foul, or da-da-da. We don't know. And I'm not assuming that. I'm just saying we don't know what's going on that may have made her or ignited a fire up under her to say like, okay, there's a lot of people who have experienced some things that I've experienced. There's a lot of things wrong that's going on that nobody's speaking up about. Okay, it stops right here. I'm going to speak out. I'm going to tell my truth, and it'll possibly make more people speak their truth too. And I wouldn't be surprised if the Me Too train started. And I'm not saying that in a funny way. I'm just saying it because of, you know, how people like to say anyone who jumps on the Me Too train is lying. But I wouldn't be surprised if somebody else came out who was younger at that time frame, came out and said that they was dealing with him as well when they were underage, because she said the reason why her and Wanya ended up breaking up is because he was cheating. So who knows? Back of the deck, the Tower in reverse, okay? So this is not revenge, okay? Here's the thing. The second question is this book a part of her spiritual cleansing and healing or revenge? It's not revenge. Upright, he's being tossed out of that tower, which means I'm getting revenge. I want you hurt. Because he's going to hit the ground. That's going to hurt. That's going to take him out. Literally. It's in reverse. And it's a major arcana, and it's definite energy. What's interesting about it is that this book came out in Aries season. This card is Aries and Scorpio. So when she released this book, she wasn't trying to cause damage to him. She talks about many things in that book. It wasn't revenge. She wasn't trying to do damage to him. She just wants to tell her story. So the second question, universal energies of light, love, okay? 2 of Cups in reverse. We got to take it because that's the only card that flipped up right. So is this book a part of her spiritual cleansing and healing or revenge? Again, I don't get that it's part of revenge. If you look at the 2 of Cups upright, these are 2 people who are very drawn to each other. There's some strong chemistry. There's some love-based energy here. She's smitten, he's smitten. They're drawn to each other. If this would have came up right, this would have been like, yeah, she still has feelings for him. She's in her feelings. She's salty. Yeah, she's trying to get revenge. In reverse, she ain't got feelings for this man no more. She don't even look at him romantically. So there's no need for her to try to get some type of revenge. That's what I'm getting with that. Bottom of the deck, 3 of Pentacles, working, building, establishing something together. In reverse, this is making me feel like trying to work against them. Again, I don't get that. Not at all. I don't get that's the angle. I get that she's trying to heal parts of herself. Seriously, I really feel like that's what the book phases are about. She's at the phase in her life where she doesn't want to keep going through the same cycles over and over again. Keep in mind, remember there was a time, and I think people still talk about it, where everybody was feeling like Brandy was cursed, or that she sacrifices people. Think about all the people from Moesha, the cast from Moesha who have passed on, right? And there was an accident where she was in an accident, and this person passed. They passed it. It was a fatal car accident, and she didn't go to jail or anything like that. And people are saying like she's bad luck. She has some type of stuff on her, hoodoo, voodoo, whatever, or she's sacrificing people so that she can maintain her status, you know, that elite Hollywood stuff. So she's always had this reputation of people like kind of looking at her a certain way. And I remember her talking a while ago where she was saying like how she never felt like one of the pretty girls. She was never asked to be the guest in the videos and things like that, like the love interest in the other artists' videos and things like that. And she had this feeling about herself like she just wasn't so pretty. So I think she's just sitting back and reflecting and looking at that and just realizing like I really allowed myself to be mistreated, and I'm done with that phase. We'll never go back to that again. So again, you have major arcana, the Hermit in reverse, bottom of the deck, the Death card, Scorpio. Okay. Has Wanya reached out to her to do damage control? You got the Death card. Now I want you to notice right here how his hands are like in prayer mode, like please. You know, death is an ending. The ending can stop things. Like if you're dead, your life is stopped. It's at a pause. If you look at this man right here, you got a man right here who's paused. And I did say Wanya has young children. I did see a little girl, right? He has a daughter. he may, if this causes conflict with him and his wife, his current wife, he may tell her, like, look, stop. What can we do to stop this? Or he can find some way to try to stop this from, again, becoming an even bigger monster before it causes him to be messed up, like, done. Non-bookable, things like that. Like, I know him and Boyz II Men have been doing tours and things like that, you know? But people don't want to support stuff like that, right? This card is Scorpio, but this always makes me think about the Hierophant, and the Hierophant is Taurus. Taurus season is coming up next. Taurus season is towards the end of April. So he may reach out to her, because right now this is saying no. At this moment, he has not reached out to her. But he or his team or somebody may reach out to her around Taurus season to stop things from moving forward. If you look at that horse's legs, like moving forward, but he's right in front of the horse, so it can't move past him. He's like, okay, let's get this stopped. Let's contain this situation. Ace of Wands. So I do feel like he may reach out. He may reach out possibly by the end of Aries season. We're Aries season right now. You got this one right here, Leo, Sag, Aries. So this could be the case. I feel like at this moment, no, he has not reached out. But then you literally have a hand that was reaching out. So he may end up reaching out. And keep in mind, he's also a Leo. So he may end up reaching out towards the end of Aries season. Yeah, he will. Because he's like, I got to get on this because you're tearing me down. You're tearing down my character. He may even put it out there like, your parents definitely knew. Because this is someone who's ready to go to war. He's ready to fight. You get what I'm saying? So, yeah. Let's get our clarifier bottom of the deck. Back to this Five of Wands. Yeah, he's going to want to fight back because he's going to lose everything pretty much. Or people aren't going to want to deal with him. But keep in mind, he is Wands. He is fire. So, yeah, I feel like he's going to try to fight back. And if you notice, there's a lot of people. Didn't I say in the beginning, there's a lot of people who was trying to say that she was like this hot girl. In other words, like she was messing with some of everybody. Because even in that interview with Cameron and Shine and Mace, you know, Shine said that Brandy came back to him like, you know, who did you tell that you was here? In other words, like, why are you telling people that we messing with each other? I'm trying to keep stuff on the low. Because there was a saying that him and Mace were dealing with her at the same time. So I feel like other people are going to join in basically to discredit her. I really feel like that. Other men, it's nothing but men here. Nothing but men here. Other men are going to jump in to discredit her. Watch what I tell you. Watch what I tell you. So, first question. Universal energies of light, love, and divine protection. Has Wanya reached out to Brandy to do damage control? Again, like I said, judgment card in reverse. I don't feel like because judgment is reconciliation, bringing the situation back to life. This would be like them reconciling and talking to each other. It's in reverse. So again, no. Both of them are major arcana, so definitely. Right now, no, he is not. Did we see this card earlier? We seen it in this deck, Six of Pentacles. He may end up reaching out to her on a date that has a 6 in it. The 6th, the 16th, the 26th, 6 days before Aries season wraps up, or 6 days into Taurus season, because you do have Pentacles here, Taurus, Virgo, Capricorn. Also, he may have, like I said, try to reach out to his legal counsel. The scales made me think about legal counsel. And legal counsel may have told him, like, you ain't gonna get nowhere with this because you actually ran your mouth and said some things that she could use in her defense, because it's in reverse. Like, you ain't gonna get nothing from that. These cards are face down, so we're gonna just put them back in here. I also want to touch on this real quick. You see how these people are in caskets, up right there jumping out of caskets. If you're in a casket, you're dead, you're done. But they're being awakened, right? Which means some past stuff being brought back to life. He wants that stuff to stay buried. Because what do you do with a casket? You bury it. He wants that stuff to stay buried. And, you know, here's the thing. I don't think he ever felt like she would ever say anything like that, just for the sheer fact that he made that comment, like, you can ask her yourself. And basically, like, she'll confirm everything that I'm saying. He didn't think that this day would come. The judgment day. He's being judged right now. This is definitely judgment day. Again, I'm going to say some people will empathize with the fact that at 22, you're young. I eloped at 21, and that was stupid. So at 20 in your 20s, your early 20s especially, you're young. You do things. You're trying to discover yourself. You're trying to understand stuff about life. But even at 21, I wouldn't have dated nobody. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's just common sense. Like, you're not dating no damn 16-year-old. That's crazy. He wasn't a man. He wasn't emotionally mature. A king is a grown man who's mature here. It's in reverse. Comes with your emotional, you know, stance on things. Comes with your emotions and feelings. It's in reverse. He's emotionally immature. So yeah, he made some bad decisions, but he knew what he was doing. Like I said, he was talking about business savviness and things like that. He knew what the hell he was doing. He did. Your second question, Two of Cups. Is this book a part of her spiritual healing and cleansing, or is it revenge? Again, that Two of Cups in reverse is saying like, nah, she's not trying to, because it's crazy. I didn't think about this before, but you see how they're looking in each other's eyes. It's like an eye for eye. An eye for eye is revenge. They're looking at each other eye to eye. It's in reverse. So again, I don't feel like there was no revenge type stuff going on. Like she was just trying to ruin his life. And I don't get that. Universal energies of light, love, and divine protection. Is this book a part of her spiritual healing and cleansing? Or is it revenge? Now this card is face down. So that means when you can't see the image, it's something that's unknown about this situation. Ooh, that's crazy. You got the major arcana. Strength card. That's the major arcana associated with Leo. Wanya is a Leo. She was not trying. Here's the thing. You see how he's holding the mouth? It's like I'm trying to control you. I'm trying to take power over you, because she's taming the beast here. It's in reverse. Again, confirmation. No, she's not trying to get revenge, because that would be like, I'm trying to control you. I'm trying to do some type of way. I'm trying to subdue you. It's in reverse. It's in reverse, which means no, like I said, she's not trying to do harm to that man. This was not about her. This was a part of her healing. So, Three of Wands, seeing something positive on the horizon, is in reverse. Leo energy here with the Wands. Yeah, things ain't been looking so bright for your boy. In reverse, it's not looking so bright for him. Let's get our final card. And it's interesting, at the bottom of the deck, Toxic Ties is the card. Toxic Ties says, this isn't a victim villain's Okay, I'm going to hold this so you guys can look at that. That's crazy. And I promise you I didn't put this any type of way. I just literally, this is my first time using it. Look at the box, like completely new. I just got this not that long ago. This is my first time using it. In Toxic Ties, it says, this isn't a victim villain story. It's a messy entanglement where both sides are contributing to the destruction. And they did. She admitted that she was sneaking around. She admitted that she was, doing things she had no business doing. And then he also was doing things where he knew he ain't had no business doing it. What's standing out to me right here is that green glow. And if you look at the chakras, the chakra that is associated with the heart is green. He says in many interviews that they were in love. This was actually a toxic soul tie. They thought they were soulmates. Two of Cups of soulmates. They weren't. How interesting. So we're going to get one card. I just want to get that's it, back together. But I know they ain't trying to get back together, so I ain't even have to stop and look at that. But we're going to get one card and see what additional message and what type of tea this deck wants to spill about this situation. So universal energies of light, love, and divine protection. What's an additional message that you want me to share in regards to the situation with Brandy and Mr. Wanya Morris? What additional messages do I need to share? I'm going to change cards from the top to the bottom. You guys see me do all that shuffling, right? So whatever we get, that's what we're meant to have. Troubled past. Now I'm looking at this image here. You see destruction, and that's interesting. You see destruction in the background. You got a flame right here. And of course, like I said, Wanya happens to be a fire sign, troubled past. So the card says the past still, come on, y'all. Y'all watch me do the shuffling. The name of her book is called Phases. Listen to this. The past still lingers like smoke in the room. Even if it's buried, its energy hasn't left the building. This is why this woman is doing. This is why Brandy doing what she's doing. The energy is lingering. Her past, okay? Things from her past is lingering. And the only way that she felt like she could heal it and get that smoke, get it out of her system, get it out of her life, is to purge it, to release it. Because she was holding on to a lot of it. Just like this says, the past still lingers like smoke in the room. Even if it's buried, its energy hasn't left the building. The building, you know how they say your body is your temple. A temple is a building of sorts. It has not left her body. It has not left her soul. She's been dealing with this for a very long time. And now she is finally at a place where she's ready to release it. She's ready to stop feeling guilty. This woman looks like she can't even hold her head up. because of what has happened in her past that is still lingering in her energy. And that's exactly what we got here. That's crazy. And to be honest with you all, I'm not even going to BS you. I didn't even look through any of the cards to see what any of the cards are. So I don't even know what any of the other cards say or anything like that. This card behind it says making bank. So it could be like this book can do very good because you guys know scandal sales. Again, this is saying like she didn't do it intentionally. For that reason, she's just at a phase of her life where she wants to heal from this shit here. Making bank talks about financial flow is increasing. A new level of wealth, power, and confidence is activating. Her releasing that stuff is activating a new sense of confidence for her. And the making bank doesn't necessarily, I feel like the book will do very well, but also I feel like the making bank, it makes me think about abundance and the activation of confidence. She's going to have an abundance of confidence now that she feels free to be who she is, who she truly is, and no longer have to hide in the shadow of what everybody tells her she has to be in order to keep a certain image. And I feel like that's going to be the biggest healing for her just all together throughout her life. She's in her 40s now. I'm 41, so she's older than me. So I think she's what, 44, 45? So she, you get to certain points in your life where it's like, I'm not going to live the rest of my life just, dealing with past stuff and not healing it and letting it consume me. I feel like this energy right here is someone who's consumed. And I strongly feel like that's the energy that Brandy is in. She feels consumed and she was tired of it. She was tired of living for everybody else. She was tired of living for an image. Is what I'm getting here. And I'm just noticing this now. Every single card here is in reverse. When the cards are in reverse, that means something has not been right with the situation because the card isn't even in the right position. You get what I'm saying here? And then out of 4 cards, you have 1, 2, 3 major arcana. So all of this is like, this is a big deal. This is going to make waves. It's already making waves, but I feel like it's going to be more to come. At the moment, it does not look like he's reached out to her to, handle the situation, but I do feel like he will. And yeah, I feel like she just wants her power back. Strength holds power. In reverse, she felt powerless. Because the opposite of strength is weakness. She felt powerless. I feel like this relationship with her and Wanya really did a number on her love life. Like the things that you experience in your youth, it really does set the platform. It really does set the, the groundwork for how you date and how you live and, all those type of things. And I feel like that relationship really did a number on her. And then he had the nerve to have like a #1 hit with her. What was it? Broken Hearted. And he broke her heart and was doing all types of, doing her dirty all types of ways. Again, I don't care who you are and what you're saying. If you're saying like she was fast and she was grown, that's some real fucked up stuff when I hear people say that somebody is fast. I don't give a damn at 16 years old. And yeah, sneaking around, that's wrong. But stop blaming just that child. He was an adult. Stop blaming that child. And I'm not just talking about just her situation. I'm talking about anybody in general. I have a 16-year-old, and I'm going to tell you again, if I find out that a 16-year-old is talking to my daughter, it's going to be up and it's going to be stuck because I don't even play like that because that really does affect how you are in relationships and how your mentality is. And stick with your own age. You can find somebody else your age. So anyway, thank you guys so very much for watching Queen Airbender Tarot. As always, I'm going to ask that you continue to like, share, subscribe. Don't forget to hype up this video. And again, today, April 4th, 2016, discount reading sale link pinned in the comment section below. The sale price goes back to normal after midnight. So if you would like a discounted price, go ahead and click that link. Until next time, take care and be well. Bye.